Well, hey there, everyone. It's Mrs. Acero here with another First Chapter Friday. I'm really excited to bring today's pick to you because we are approaching February, or depending on when you're listening to this, it is February. And in February, we celebrate a lot of special days. In my opinion, the most important day that we recognize is the entire month, which is Black History Month, where we recognize and celebrate the contributions of the many African Americans who helped make our country what it is today. So today I'm going to bring to you one of my favorites from my book clubs when I taught sixth grade, and there were always a group of kids who loved this book, and it is called The Lions of Little Rock by Kristin Levine. Before we get started, I want to make sure that you have your First Chapter Friday handout. It is free, and I'll link it in the video description. It's great to print out a bunch, and you can keep track of books that you are listening to, so when you're ready for your next read, you have something to refer to. Okay, so let's get into The Lions of Little Rock. I want to read a little bit about it to you from the inside of the book jacket. Everything's changing for 12-year-old Marlee. Her brother's gone off to college, and her sister's moved out of the room they've shared since Marlee was born. To Marlee, who's not much of a talker outside of the family, and who doesn't have many friends, it feels like her whole world is falling apart. On top of all that, she's starting middle school and has to break in new teachers who don't yet know Marlee doesn't talk. It's not that she can't talk. She just doesn't. At least not until she meets Liz, the new girl at school. Liz is everything Marlee wishes she could be. She's brave, brash, and always knows the right thing to say, especially to the resident mean girl, Sally. Liz even helps Marlee overcome her fear of speaking. But when Liz leaves school without even a goodbye, the rumor is that Liz was really a colored girl caught passing for white. Marlee decides that doesn't matter. She just wants her friend back. And to stay friends, Marlee and Liz are even willing to take on segregation and the dangers their friendship could bring to both families. Set in 1958, Kristin Levine's novel weaves a movie and heroic tale of friendship and shows us how Little Rock finally found its voice and became whole again. It's a powerful novel. And it's very relatable for middle schoolers. So chapter 1 is called The High Dive, and the chapters are written out like that. I talk a lot. Just not out loud where anyone can hear. At least I used to be that way. I'm no chatterbox now, but if you stop me on the street and ask me directions to the zoo, I'll answer you. Probably, if you're nice. I might even tell you a couple of different ways to get there. I guess I've learned it's not enough to just think things. You have to say them too. Because all the words in the world won't do much good if they're just rattling around in your head. But I'm getting ahead of myself. To understand me and how I've changed, I need to go back to 1958. It was a beautiful day in September, and I was standing on top of a diving board. The blue sky was reflected in the water below, the white board felt scratchy under my feet, and the smell of hot dogs wafted up from the snack stand. It was a perfect summer day, the kind you see in the movies, and I was positive I was going to throw up. You see, it wasn't just any high dive. Oh no. It was the super huge 5-meter-high platform diving board, the tallest at Fair Park swimming pool, probably the highest in all of Little Rock. It might have even been the highest in all of Arkansas, which wouldn't have been a problem if I hadn't been afraid of heights. But I was. Sally McDaniels had told me she was going to jump off and asked if I wanted to come too. Everyone over the age of 10 had already jumped off the board a dozen times that summer, except for me, and I was practically 13. It was easier to nod than to say no, so there I was. Sally was waiting behind me on the ladder. Blonde and blue-eyed, she wore a pink suit the exact color of her toenails. Sally wasn't really pretty, but no one ever noticed because she acted like she was. "Are you all right?" she asked. No, of course I wasn't all right. I mean, I wasn't sick or anything, but I was standing perfectly still, frozen as a popsicle, counting prime numbers in my head. A prime number is a number that can only be divided by itself and 1. There are 25 of them under 100, and reciting them sure does help me when I'm nervous. "Go ahead and jump," said Sally. I didn't move. A plane flew across the clouds. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. I wished I were a stork and could fly away. Or a flamingo, or a penguin. Except I didn't think they flew. "Marlee," Sally said, "there's a bunch of people behind us." I hated holding them up, so I took a step toward the edge of the platform. 13, 17, 19, 23. But then I got dizzy and fell to my knees. "Come on," cried the boy on the ladder behind Sally. "Hurry up and jump." I shook my head and clutched the board. 29, 31, 37, 41. It didn't work. I wasn't ever letting go. Sally laughed. She said she was really going to do it this time. I squeezed my eyes tighter and kept counting. 43, 47, 53. "Isn't that Judy Nisbet's little sister?" someone asked. It must have only been a minute or two, but I got all the way to 97 before I felt Judy's hand on my shoulder. "Marlee," she said quietly, "come on down. I already bought a Coke and a payday. We can share them on the way home." I nodded but didn't move. "Open your eyes," Judy commanded. I did. Not that I always do what my sister says, but, well, I guess I usually do. In any case, when I saw my sister's clear brown eyes looking at me, I felt much better. She was 16 and going into the 11th grade. I could talk to my sister. She was smart and calm and reasonable. "Do you want me to hold your hand on the way down the ladder?" Judy asked. I nodded again. It was embarrassing, but I didn't think I could do it on my own. Once I felt her palm on mine, it only took a minute for us to make our way down together. "What a baby," said the boy who had been behind me as he brushed past us to climb up again. Sally laughed, and I knew they were right. I was a baby. "Come on," said Judy. She picked up her book and her bag from the lounge chair where she'd been reading. "See you at school tomorrow," said her friend Margaret. "See you," Judy replied, waving goodbye. Judy hadn't even gotten her hair wet. She'd recently cut it into a short bob and wore it pulled back with a ribbon. My hair was the same brown color as my sister's, but it was long and wavy, and sometimes I still wore it in braids. Sally said I looked like Heidi, but I didn't care. I liked Heidi. She had that nice grandpa and her friend with all those goats. Goats are okay, but what I really love are wild animals, like the ones you find at the zoo. The Little Rock Zoo was right across the street from the swimming pool. In the gate and down the hill, I knew the lions were pacing in their cages. At night, Judy and I listened to them roar, but during the day, they were quiet, like me. Judy and I sat on the wall by the zoo entrance as we shared a candy bar and a Coke. "Sorry," I said. I'd ruined our last day at the pool before school started again. Judy sighed. "Why are you even friends with Sally McDaniels?" I shrugged. "Sally and I have been friends ever since we were 5, and she pushed me off the slide at the park." She likes to boss you around, Judy said. That was true, but she was also familiar. I like familiar. You need to find a friend you have something in common with, said Judy. Someone who likes to do the same things you do. That's what... I stopped listening. I knew all of her advice by heart. I needed to find someone who was honest and friendly and nice. I knew all the ways I was supposed to meet this imaginary friend, too. Just say hello, ask someone a question, give a compliment. Maybe it would work if I could ever figure out the right words. I know it sounds odd, but I much prefer numbers to words. In math, you always get the same answer, no matter how you do the problem. But with words, blue can be 1,000 different shades. 2 is always 2, and I like that. Judy finally finished lecturing. I said, it's easier to put up with Sally. Sometimes she's really nice. Yeah, Judy said, sometimes. And that is the end of chapter 1. Now, I know you just got a little bit of a taste of this, but this book is really gets into the topic of segregation. It's very relatable for middle schoolers, and I really hope that you'll put it on your reading list because I know that you will love it. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any books that you would like me to feature on my channel, just leave a note in the comments. Until then, I'll see you next Friday, and happy reading.